All right, yesterday we had a discussion on the volume of liquids. Today we're going to discuss the volume of solids, both regular solids and irregular solids. So let's start with regular solids. Regular solids are measured in cubic centimeters, and the way we determine the volume of a regular solid, is the use of a centimeter ruler. So you'll notice here it says mm on the top, but that's the little marks. The big numbered marks are the centimeters. So normally we would measure the length, the width, and the height of the rectangle or of the square. And you can do this, you can actually do this with anything that's got even sides like this. It works. You're going to measure the length, the width, and the height, and then you're going to multiply the length times the width times the height. Okay? Pretty simple as far as being able to figure out what to do. So let's take a look at a couple of examples here. If we have this box and we've done the measurement and we've gotten these numbers, we're going to do length times width times height. So that would be 12 times 6 times 8. Now, the goal is not that you have all these numbers memorized, but the goal is that you make sure you have a calculator. Because you see I've got one at my fingertips. Because it's just, for science, we're just looking at how quickly you can get the math done. And that's the best way to do that is through a calculator. So 12 times 8 times 6. You're going to do the math, and you're going to get 12 times 5 times, that should be 6. 12 times 6 times 8 equals 576 centimeters cubed, or cubic centimeters. Now, it's important to put that little unit on there. If you just give me a number that doesn't count, you need to give me the unit as well. And how do we know which unit to use? Well, if you're measuring in centimeters, then the unit's going to be in centimeters. If you're measuring in millimeters, it's going to be in millimeters. If you're measuring in meters, it's going to be in meters. And the cubed, that number 3, where does that come from? Well, look to the left there. 12 times 6 times 8. There's 3 numbers we're multiplying together. That's where the cube comes from. Okay? So let's do this one. 4 times 5 times 5. And if you know your math, 5 times 5 is 25, and 25 times 4, 25, 50, 75, 100 cubic centimeters. All right, what about this one? This one you definitely probably need a calculator for. 20 times 15 times 10, and then if we do length times width times height, we get 20 times 15 times 10 equals 3,000 cubic centimeters. Okay, so volume of a regular solid, pretty easy compared to what we're about to do. Okay, so that's one way to do this. Remember, this is a recorded video. If you're stuck or you don't remember how to do it, that's why it's recorded. Come back, watch it again, pause it, rewind it, do what you got to do to help yourself learn this. Now we get to volume of an irregular solid. Volume of an irregular solid. This is where we're going to need the use of a graduated cylinder or a beaker. Beaker. So we're going to be using one of these two tools to measure the volume of an irregular solid. Well, when I say an irregular solid, what do I mean? I mean anything that doesn't have sides that are easily to measure with a ruler. Okay, it could be something like this that has straight sides. It could be a rock. It could be a ring. It could be a hammer. These are just some options of things that can be measured using this way. Now, how do we do that? Well, I'm glad you asked. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your graduated cylinder like we practiced yesterday, and you're going to put water in it, and you're going to measure the amount of the water by itself. So if we do this first one here on the left, and we measure the amount of water there, how much water is there? There is 19 milliliters. So the 10's on the bottom, it goes up to 20. It's almost to the 20. Remember, we measure at the meniscus. The meniscus is where that dip comes down. That's at 19. Now we put the piece that the cylinder that we're going to measure in the water, and then we remeasure the water. So now we've dropped the cylinder in, and we look at the graduated cylinder, and we remeasure it, and now it measures at what? 29 milliliters. Okay. Now, how do we find the volume of the cylinder? Well, we subtract. The water with the cylinder minus just the water gives us the volume of the cylinder. So you're going to do 29 minus 19, which gives us the cylinder is 10 milliliters is its volume. Okay, not real difficult, but just remembering that this is for volume of a specific item, irregular item. So now we're going to do the same thing with this ring. What's the volume there? 64. And what's the volume with the ring in it? 60, there's 65, go up 3 more, 68, and then subtract, and the volume of the ring is 4 milliliters. And we'll do this hammer next, okay? So we measure the amount of water that's there. Remember, we're measuring from the meniscus, that's 65 milliliters, because it's right on the 65 line. And now we're going to measure the volume of the hammer and the water. And we get 69 milliliters. Remember, the meniscus is just below the 70. And then we do the subtraction. 69 minus 65 equals 4 milliliters. Now remember, when you're doing this, to include your unit, I need to know what you're measuring in. Okay. Now you're going to go and you're going to do the volume of a solid practice assignment, and then work on your exit ticket, and then have a great day.